Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973, an inspirational podcast about the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Talk with Liquidshano. You know, as you all know, it's holiday season. And as you all know, it's super busy, and I have not been recording as much as I would like to record. But here's another episode because I needed some therapy. I needed a moment to sit back and get into it with you guys, to be able to talk about some things that are on my mind, talk about things that are really important to me, especially during this time of season, as we're all going through all the shopping season, as we're all going through the different maybe emotions that you feel during the holidays or anything like that. We're all in this kind of a weird place most of the time during the holidays. It feels good, right? It feels good to be around Christmas time and family and gifts and giving and all that stuff. But on the same token, for a lot of people that are out there, it can feel pretty bad, right? It can feel lonely. It can feel, especially if you lost people in your life or you don't have a lot of people to celebrate with or anything like that, or exchange gifts with and anything else. So as you all know, I'm a big proponent for the ability to be able to reach out to other people, to invest in them, to be able to give back to different people and do things with just one act of kindness, especially during the holiday season, for people that you never know that need it the most, right? I know a lot of times we talk about the kindness appointment, just to be able to set an alarm in your phone for each day to be able to call somebody that might need it, or somebody that needs a lift or a pick-me-up or some sort of thing, to be able to, travel during this holiday season and feel like they are loved or appreciated or cared for or adored or anything like that. And we all kind of know who some of those people are, but on the same token, there are people that you don't really know are actually in that lonely state of affairs. So acts of kindness can be random to anybody whatsoever. Somebody that you just haven't talked to in a minute, or somebody that you want to, do it. Reach out to them, give them a call, touch base, give them a high five. Well, the feeling of this podcast heading into the holiday season is one of exactly that, is being able to do things for other people to make them feel special and be able to invest in them and continue things moving forward. But also it's about checks and balances. Now, if anybody has been through accounting or been through any kind of mathematical courses or anything like that to know, or just knows how to balance a basic checkbook, you know that if you are depositing, making deposits and putting deposits in, then you can eventually take some withdrawals out of there. But the more deposits that you put in, the more ability for you to be able to move forward to be in a positive space is, because now you have some excess funds, or you have some money and things like that. So this podcast is going to be very related to that topic, that thing that we look at where we make investments, we deposit into our banks enough that we can actually pull from or withdraw, or just to have them overflowing, so that way when something does happen in our lives that is a negative, or that can pull from or detract from or anything like that, we have the ability to be able to bounce back pretty quickly because we've made enough deposits. Now, checks and balances are easy, debits and credits and all those things. Listen, if you've been through any kind of accounting courses or anything in college or high school or whatever else, it can be kind of difficult to understand, debits, credits, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all about simple math. If you are making deposits into your bucket, whatever that deposit is, it doesn't matter what the deposit can be. It could be anything from emotional deposits. It could be anything from financial deposits. It could be anything from, physical deposits, or anything that you're doing towards working towards being better and investing in yourself in a way that's going to be beneficial. These are deposits that matter. So whatever the deposit is that you have got going on, and whatever it is that you're working on, these are important aspects and things to remember, because these are things that you're going to have to use as you go down this journey, and as you're getting during some of those darker times, or some of the times when you need a lift me up or a perk me up or anything like that. What your positive end of the deposits are. So I'm just going to bring myself in for an example here. My deposits, the way that I continue to push forward and be a positive influence, and to continue to invest in myself and lift myself up and increase on my amount of things that I'm filling my bucket with are done through things like volunteerism. And if anybody's been listening to this podcast, you know that these are my core values, the things that I try to be able to continue to move forward, especially during the holiday season, is to be able to invest, to be able to volunteer, to give back and do things for others without having any kind of kickbacks or anything like that. Just doing things for other people that need it the most. The people that maybe are unsung, or the people that don't really speak loudly towards the things that they need, but you never know how much they actually need your help and how much they actually need somebody to be able to lift them up and encourage them and be able to continue to push forward. And those are my major deposits that I have. My other deposits are just your normal, everyday, average deposits that I have. I love the fact that my family loves me. I love the fact that I have a loving wife and a son. I love the fact that I'm never really lonely, only because I have those guys, even though at times it does still get lonely. I mean, like at the end of the day, when you really think about it, we're all individuals and we're trying to be able to get through this thing called life. We lean in on people. We lean in on those that we love and those that we cherish and those that we adore as family or friends or anything like that. We can lean in to be able to do the things that we have to be able to continue to move forward, but it can still get lonely. It could still be lonely. Our brains only work in a certain capacity that we might be fulfilled in one direction, but there's other ways in our lives that maybe feel empty or in a place where we're not really feeling up to par. Right. So my deposits, the things that I do that help me, are not only with my family, being able to enjoy family time or do those kind of things. Because listen, I've got a 16-year-old kid that likes to do his own thing. He doesn't like watching movies. He doesn't like watching TV. He doesn't like watching sports. So those are some things that my wife and I love to do. But on the same token, he doesn't. So I need to make sure that as I move forward, those deposits that I'm making, I'm adjusting the deposit thing that I'm trying to put into play, right? So if something worked before, where I know that I could take him to a movie or I could take him to a restaurant or we could go different places and we could do different things to invest in my son, now that he's 16, those priorities have changed. But I got to continue to deposit into my bank to be able to continue to move forward. So that way I know that if I have to take a withdrawal, I know that I'm not going to be overdrafting in that whole entire account to be able to move things forward. So family's important. It's an important aspect of my life. It's an important aspect of who I am. It's an important aspect of my identity and everything that I try to be able to pull forward with. And that's me. That's me in a nutshell, right? That's the direction I like to move in because I know how important that is to me. Like I said earlier, my second part of that deposit, the big area of focus for me is volunteerism. Now, if some of you don't know, during the Christmas holiday season, I started it last year and I'm doing it again this year. I draw these little avatars, these little cartoon drawings, these little circle drawings that people like to put on their Facebook, on their TikTok, on their Instagram, and different places that they like to put it on there. And what I do is I charge a nominal fee, just an inexpensive fee compared to some of the other artwork that's out there. But I draw your face and I make it into a cartoon and then I make it into an avatar so it fits nice and cleanly and precisely in with some of the social media outlets that are out there. So that way you can change it up. And right now I'm doing Christmas ones, right? So any of the ones that I do for Christmas, I might put a Santa Claus hat on there. I might put a Frosty the Snowman hat. I might put a lot of different things that are in there, but I doll it all up to make it look Christmassy. And then the end user pays $50. Now, 25 of that goes into the deposit bank, which is what we're talking about here, and I'll explain it in just a moment. And then the other 25 goes towards commission, which is something that I get paid to do. And I wasn't charging for commission before, but, my wife and other people told me that, you should really think about the fact that you're putting a lot of work and effort and time and energy into these. You're worth more than just doing things for free. And I said, you know what, you're right, absolutely. So $50 is the fee that I charge for it. I take 25 of it and I put it into the bank, into the Venmo bank. Then during the 12 days of Christmas, I take that money and I go wherever I need to go, wherever my heart feels that I need to be able to continue to push forward with. So I'll go to things like homeless shelters. I go to veterans homes. I go to different places with food, with clothing, with different items. I tip waiters and waitresses and servers, especially during this time of pandemic and people not coming into the restaurants as much as they used to, or tipping as well as they could have before because people aren't coming out, and some of these folks want to just put food on their table for their kids and whatever else. So I try to go out for 12 days for the 12 days of Christmas, and I try to give back to other people. Sometimes I might just put $100 in an envelope and be able to give some people out at Walmart some $100 bills, or maybe I'll go pay off a layaway, or I'll do wherever my heart pulls me to be able to do so. I take the money that has been donated towards the avatar and I pay it forward. Now, why do I do it? Is it for notoriety? No. Is it for fame? No, it's none of that stuff. What it is for is it's to fill my bucket. It's to fill my whole entire being, to make me feel like I'm worthy, to make me feel like I've done something for other people that didn't ask for it. I just did it because it feels good. It feels right. It feels good to be able to play in that space. Now, I have a lot of people that will ridicule me or come after me on social media. Like everybody knows, on social media, it can be a pretty mean place at times. But I have people that come to me and they'll say to me, hey, listen, I don't know why you're recording you tipping this server out. I don't know why you're recording you buying all the clothes or the blankets or whatever else for the shelters, even though I will never show anybody that's actually homeless or ever show anybody that's actually in the shelter. I just show the process of being able to do it. So for a couple reasons, right? One of them is to make sure that everybody knows that the money that they put in there is going to the place that they actually put the money in for, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is I want people to be inspired. If they, at the end of the day, look at me doing something positive for somebody else or giving back to another individual that may be in a time of need, or maybe they weren't in the time of need at that moment in time, but until later on they reflect on it and they go, wow, you know what, I really needed the help from that guy. I didn't even know who he was, but I still needed help from it, right? Almost like a Secret Santa. Or whatever, those kind of things. So for me, those moments that I record or that I post is for not only helping the people that have actually spent the money, but it's also to be able to inspire. Now, those are ways that I continue to fill my bucket. I continue to make deposits into my bank because I can then know that I feel good about the things that I'm doing. I feel positive. I feel like I'm in a place where volunteering and giving back is a sweet spot of being able to do things for other people that may be less fortunate or that just need it in general. Now, does everybody have the ability to be able to go and give monetary donations and, volunteer that aspect of it? No. But there are other ways that we can do this, guys. There's other ways that you can continue to invest in your bucket. Now, like I said, these are my important things. My family's important to me. Volunteering is important to me. Philanthropy is important to me. All these things that we're trying to be able to continue to move forward and do and be in the space of, I literally, at the end of the day, just want to be able to continue to fill my bucket, move things forward, and do the things that I have to do. But those are important to me. So the first thing you should do is you should list out what's important to you. What is something that you do or that you have or that you want to be able to play in the space of that is important to you to be able to fill your own bucket? Is it volunteering? Is it giving back? Is it working at food kitchens? Is it going and doing something for the children's homes? Is it going to decorate someone's house? Is it shoveling a driveway? Is it going around and mowing lawns? Is it whatever it is to be able to invest in other people? Great. That is a really important aspect of it. So if that's important to you, you need to start to write those things down. Because if you know what's going to be able to add to your bucket, if you know how to be able to make deposits and be able to move forward in a positive space and really play in a space where you know that you have the ability to be able to continue to invest in yourself and others and whatever else, then you're always going to be filled up. Your bucket will always be filled. And whenever you have to take a withdrawal out, whenever you have to pull something out of there, you know that as you're adding those deposits, it's not going to hurt as much when you have to withdraw, because everybody out there in the world is going to have to withdraw at one time or another. They're going to have to make some withdrawals. Sometimes our life is not as clean as we want it to be. Sometimes our life has some really major crap that's thrown our way, and we're literally having to go, oh man, I really didn't expect that overcharge to be able to fix the car or buy the new water heater or get a new roof or whatever else that you got going on, right? I know that these are financial things, but this is the way that I have to be able to kind of paint the picture for myself to know that Stuff happens sometimes. Life happens sometimes. And you're going to have to withdraw from all those deposits that you are making because that's life. And at the end of the day, we can't just avoid those situations because those situations happen. We're going to face adversity. We're going to face time crunches. We're going to face people that are negative. We're going to face all the different things that happen in the world. But if you are constantly in the space of making deposits and continuing to move forward in a place where you are feeling good about who you are and feeling good about what you're doing, those times when you have to make that withdrawal are not going to seem as monumentous, and they're not going to seem as painful. And it's not going to require as much oomph to be able to push you forward and keep you moving forward. Either one of those, right? So the concentration part of it is, how do I continue to invest in my bucket? How do I make deposits? What is it specifically that I need to do to continue to move forward, to make the deposits, to add value, to do the things that are necessary? So like I just said a second ago, take out a piece of paper, a nice clean slated piece of paper. If you've got a journal, great. If you've got a little diary, awesome. Whatever it is that you've got to be able to do to have a space that you can go to write something down, write down those things that matter to you. What matters to you? What is important to you that makes you feel good? Is it going for walks? Is it going to smell the flowers? Is it, if you're living snow areas where it's not, we're heading into winter here, the dead of winter? Is it skiing? Is it snowboarding? Whatever it is that you can do to continue to invest in yourself. It doesn't have to be always given back to other people. Maybe it's given back to you. Maybe it's going to get a massage. Maybe it's going to the place to get your nails done. Maybe it's spending a little bit of money on yourself on that nice new outfit or that nice ring or the jewelry that you always wanted, or whatever it is. Things that make you feel good, things that get you going in the right direction, that makes you and gives you deposits for you to feel better about yourself and the situation that you're in. You need to identify those first. Identify them. And here's the reason you have to identify them, is because if you just continue to go down the road of life and just kind of go through the motions and check off the boxes and do the things that you have to do, you're never really truly going to invest. You're never truly going to make the deposits that are necessary for you to have in your bucket for you to move forward, for you to be able to live life to the fullest, live it to the maximum capacity. And when you have to make those withdrawals, you're not tapping into an empty bank account, right? An empty emotional bank account. Because we all have them. All of us have emotional bank accounts, every single one of us. And a lot of us, to be honest with you, in this time and age that we're in with COVID and quarantines and all these ups and downs that we're feeling in politics and race and religion and all these different things, a lot of us are running on empty as it is. We run on empty buckets because we literally are just trying to go through the motions and live life to the fullest that we can. But at the same token, we're busy. We got stuff going on. We got drama that happens. We got family that happens. We got all this different stuff that we've got to go through and get through just because that's what life deals us. And a lot of us are running on empty. So this podcast is all about how do you cause the empty to go to full on your gas tank? How do you get yourself to the place where you can really tap into to understand that I feel good about what I'm doing? I feel proud of what I'm doing. If you're in a place where you never feel proud of anything that you're doing, or you don't feel good about anything that you're doing, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to peel the Band-Aid off and let you know you need to change something. You need to get to a place where you know that if you're going to make investments and you're going to be in a place where you feel good about things that you're doing, you know you're in the right place. But if you never feel good about the things that you're doing, if you never feel the wholesome feeling of, satisfaction or that feeling of growth and that feeling of, man, I'm just so proud of the things that I did, or I feel amazing about the actions that I took or the things that I did. If you're never feeling that way and you never have that euphoric feeling of knowing that you're depositing and you're doing the things that are necessary, if you never feel that way, change it up. It's time to change it right now. Small little things that you can add into your life after you've identified them, written them down and said, these are the things that I know if I had attended to or actually delivered on, I would feel better about myself in the situation that I'm in. Now you've identified them. Now it's time to put the work into changing some things around. If you're never addressing those things that you love to do or those things that help you and lift you up and encourage you, then what are you doing? What are we doing? Are you just spinning your wheels? Are you just going through the motions? Are you just going through life and going, hey, you know what? I'm just going to continue to go down the road of just doing what I'm doing because it's just what society tells me what to do. No, this life is short, folks. We only live on this earth for a short amount of time. And if you're not maximizing your potential, you're not maximizing your positive load that you're putting on yourself, the things that you're trying to be able to move forward with, living the true best version of yourself and the best life that you can live, then what is it worth doing for? You need to focus on making sure that you live this life to the fullest. We are only here for a short amount of time. We are only here to make a short amount of impact. The impact that we can make can be vast and huge, but we're always just so afraid to do so. We're always so afraid to pull the trigger and go and do something that actually matters because we're afraid of embarrassment or we're afraid of failure or we're afraid of falling down or we're afraid of ridicule or we're afraid of social media or we're afraid of any of this stuff, any of it. But you got to take the risk. You got to get yourself uncomfortable and know that if this is important to me, yeah, it may be bumpy at first. It may not be perfect and feeling the right way at first, but it'll get there. It'll get there, and you're worth that investment. You're worth the time and that it takes, that it's necessary for you to be able to get yourself to a place where you feel good about the things that you're doing and you're investing in yourself. So that way, when the time comes down to it, that you have to take out the withdrawals, you know that your account is loaded, it's jam-packed, and you know at the end of the day, I may have to withdraw a little bit, but I know that I'm in a good spot and I feel good about where I'm at. So that way, when the hits keep on coming, you know that you keep on adding value to it. You keep on adding to the bank account. You keep on doing the things that are necessary for you to be able to move forward. Now, I know that probably may not make a lot of sense to some people, but it makes sense to me because it is about checks and balances. Is life going to be easy for the rest of our lives? No. Are we going to hit pitfalls? Are we going to go through ups and downs? Yes, we are. All of us. Are you trying to lose weight and you're gaining and it just doesn't feel like it's just never ending and you lose a little bit and then you gain some or whatever else? It's frustrating, right? Are you trying to save money and then next thing you know, Christmas time comes around and you got the kids that you want to buy for or the cousins or the mom and dad or whatever else, or you have a medical appointment that comes in that the medical bill rolls in and now you got no money and you're just trying to be able to push forward even though you're trying to save, and it's frustrating, right? Are you trying to do the right thing and stay away from politics or division or any of those things, but you got friends that are staunch, conservatives and staunch liberals, and they're all going toe-to-toe with each other, but you're trying to do the right thing and you're trying to be able to live your best life, but you're surrounded by people with vast opinions and all they want to do is tell you their opinions? Is it frustrating? Yes, it is. But these are the moments that you got to continue to invest in yourself, because if you don't, you're going to be depleting on empty. You're literally going to be in a space where it just feels like you're tired, you're exhausted, and you're beat down all the time. And if you never feel that sense of accomplishment and you never feel that ability to be able to say, wow, I feel really good about the situation, or I've done something good here, or I've invested in a different way, or maybe I handled that situation surprisingly different than what I normally would, or I stood my ground and stood up for myself, or whatever it is that you're doing. If you're not making those adjustments and pivoting and making sure that you're doing things for you in the right space and delivering for yourself, you're just going to feel like you're running on empty. And I know that feeling. I know how that feels when you're running on empty. It feels like the world is coming to an end. It's all crumbling around you, and you feel like, man, I can never get ahead. I always take one step forward and then two steps back. It's the way a lot of us feel in this world. It's the way a lot of us feel in this space that we're living in, the place that we're trying to be the best version of ourselves, but everybody tries to break us down. So why do bad things happen to good people, right? You got to focus on what you're doing and how you're making the deposits for you. Stop worrying about every single other person. The purpose of this exercise, the purpose of this podcast, the purpose of this moment right now is to make sure you know how you can invest in yourself. Now, if you can incorporate something that's going to be able to invest in others or give back to others, like I was saying, with the tips that I can give to other waitresses and waiters, or the clothes that I can buy for the shelters or the veteran homes or whatever else, that's giving back to other people, which is amazing. And that does show that there's some empathy for others in that time. But in the grand scheme of things, it's about me. It's about how I can do something that's going to make me feel good. It's going to deposit into my bank, and I can move forward in a space where I feel like I'm more in control because I'm doing things for others and I'm moving the needle in my direction. I'm doing something that's actually for me, that the end product can be for others, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Because I've identified it. I've looked at it. I've told myself, this is what's important to me. This is how I can invest in myself. And so that's how I will continue to move forward in the space where I know that if I continue to play in the space of volunteering, I play in the space of doing things for other people, and I continue to go down this road of investing in others, I will always invest in myself. Always. And they both work hand in hand. Now, does that sound selfish that I say I'm doing it for me rather than others? Maybe. Some people might take it that way. You should give knowingly that you're just giving to others, which I agree wholeheartedly. But I'm doing it for me because I want to invest in myself. I want to make myself feel good about the situation that I'm in, so that way I can then help others and live life to the fullest, because now my cup's full and I feel good about what I'm doing. And I feel good about how I'm doing it and the direction that I'm moving it in. And I can definitely handle any adversity that comes my way when my bucket's filled, and I literally am in a place where I can go, hey, you know what? I've done so much for other people and done so many good things. This is my moment. This is how I can go ahead and focus on this. So I don't know if that makes a lot of sense to you. I hope it does. I'd love your feedback. I'd love your thoughts. If you want to email me at liquidshano1973@gmail.com, you can. You can also sign up to be a patron of the show at www.patreon, patreon.com/liquidcoffeetalk. Become a patron of the show. Sign up for some goodies. Give me some feedback. You can communicate with me there, or you can communicate with me on all the social media platforms as well. For any of those that are new listeners or anybody that hasn't heard the podcast in a minute, I'm here. I'm going to be coming back strong this year and trying to be more consistent with my podcast, more consistent with my thoughts. But this is important, guys. One of the ways that I can invest in myself and deposit into my bank is right here through this podcast. If I can literally sit there and try to be able to put my thoughts out there, make myself feel good about the fact that I'm getting my thoughts out, you're my therapy, I can definitely attack anything else that's thrown my way, because I'm in a place where I'm investing in myself, and then also with people listening on the podcast, I invest in them as well. So if that makes sense, I hope that helps you. Remember to make the deposits. Identify what deposits need to be made. Identify what your passions are. Identify what things make you feel good. And then go and put it to action towards doing something in those spaces to continue to invest in yourself. So when you do need that one time, that one moment that you got to be able to make that withdrawal, when life isn't handing you all the great deck of cards and you're having to continue to strive and push forward and struggle and those kind of things, but you've deposited so much that it doesn't really feel like much. You're just pulling out of the major amount of, I guess, quasi cash that you got in your bank. When you can pull from that and not feel like you're pulling on an empty account, that's going to feel really good when you get there. Remember to invest in yourself, so that way you know you can then live your fullest life and at maximum capacity for you to be the best version of yourself, okay? Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please do us a favor and leave feedback and a 5-star rating on whatever platform that you use.